Welcome, everyone, to this episode of the Principal's Office. I'm delighted to talk to all of you from every part of the world. My name is Noel Lusega, and I am the School Principal of Bright Bridgeson's Learning Academy. That's in Nairobi, Kenya. And today we are going to be speaking to one of our guests that we have been really looking forward to speak to. And on behalf of the global school leaders, I would want to welcome you all and also welcome our guest. So I feel she will be the best fit to introduce herself. Maybe my guest, please just take a minute or two to say a few things about yourself, and then we can hit it off from there. Welcome.
Okay.
In
Wonderful.
Nairobi, Kenya,
Thank
we
you.
say karibu.
Thank you so much for welcoming me in. I've been looking forward to doing this for a really long time. My name is Poorna Jagannathan. I am an actor and producer based here in LA. Most importantly, I'm married to Azad Uman, who you know from GSL. And we have a young son. We live in Los Angeles with our dog. And, all these questions have really made me think back on my own education. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Thank you, Poorna.
And as usual, I am nervous to be in the principal's office.
Oh, yes. Welcome. Maybe just a bit about your experience of being in the principal's office. This season, actually, we are focusing on the theme of the role of gender in leadership positions, especially in the context of schools. Maybe you can just share a little bit about your experiences of being in the principal's office.
Absolutely. My first memory of really being in a principal's office is just delightful. I went to a Catholic school from the second to the fifth grade, and the principal there was a sister called Sister Dominic, and I just felt so looked after. My father was a diplomat, so we were posted in Pakistan, and I just moved from Ireland, and she was Irish, and I had a very thick Irish accent that no one except Sister Dominic understood. So she was doing a lot of the translating for me between, a more Pakistani Indianish accent and the accent that I had. And just, in fact, when I was thinking about, being in the principal's office, it never occurred to me that she was a principal because we were such good friends.
Interesting, Poorna. Thanks for taking us down the memory lane with your experiences of being in the principal's office. Maybe you can also tell us a little bit whether there was any kind of influence you personally got from your principals, especially maybe how that influence has gone a long way, in terms of impacting on your life, even years after.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like we talk about I know in education, as in so many different fields, a lot of times women are not on top, right, of that, the organizational structure. Was not how I grew. It's not the experience I had at all. So I did obviously notice it in almost every industry I've been in since then, and every organization since then. But for me, between my teachers who are mostly female and the principals who are mostly female, I viewed it as a very female forward. I viewed education as very female forward always. And, I go back to Sister Dominic, I was very young, and it's not so much the educational impact she had on me. It was just the immense, all my friends from that time that I knew from the second to the fifth grade, are all mostly artists. That was the impact she had. She had a very creative, she fostered and nurtured creativity and empathy and listening and a lot of stuff that all of us are still very influenced by this one particular principle.
And what you think from your own experience has been the role of schools in shaping those gender, especially the gender perspectives among the students, that especially eventually leads them into careers?
For me,
it
wasn't so much gendered. I had wonderful teachers, male teacher teaching English and history, and I had amazing teachers, female teacher teaching me science and things. But it was different only because there was a feeling with the female teachers that they wouldn't leave me behind.
Have you picked any ways in which you can say a school is shaping certain gendered perspectives among their students?
I especially remember one, again, I moved around schools a lot, but one thing, even though in one of the schools where all the teachers were female and so amazingly fantastic at their subjects, most schools started at 7:30. Ours started at 10:30 because the school knew that all the women had to cook for their families beforehand. And they just started it later, right? So it was like an interesting approach. But in that particular school, again, even though the education was quite phenomenal, the lifestyle was gendered, right? So the bathroom was absolutely inaccessible to the girls. We were in school for hours, and there was no sanitation to speak of. There was just it was a disaster. There was just like an open floor. It was just it was gendered in terms of, if you're a woman, you just have to deal with whatever we're giving you. Structure, the scholastic structure didn't support women overall, girls overall.
Okay. That's a very interesting experience. Maybe I'll take it back to you and just ask, have you had any such challenges in your job, especially now as a woman?
As I'm talking to you, I just feel the support structure needs to extend beyond just education. So what is happening just in the classroom was felt equal, but what was happening outside of the classroom felt very unequal. It feels like the academics is somehow, for me, felt equitable, but everything around it in terms of society and going to school and getting there and being whatever, all that just felt very unequitable and not addressed. And so we can talk about girls' education, girls' opportunity, and girl whatever, but there is a piece of the puzzle about her environment and her surrounding that absolutely affects her ability to go to school or not, and how she approaches education that I believe should have been integrated into my education or addressed in my education as well, and was never.
And I'm curious to hear what you would say about what you think a strong woman looks like. I mean, out of that socialization, out of that school experience, how do you emerge to become a strong and influential woman?
I think it is, speaking up always helps. Also, like shifting stuff from yourself onto other factors also helped, because for a long time, the fact that I was a woman, I just thought, well, this is what women have to deal with. This is the harassment or the opportunities that I couldn't take. I just thought I had to deal with it because everyone around me had just to deal with it, and my mother, like you just it's so normal to just deal because you're a woman. And so just years of just shifting that and understanding that I don't have to.
Yeah.
It was a very powerful step in my life, you know, in my life in particular.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting. So what keeps you going, Poorna? What gives you hopeful about the future, especially seeing all these gendered perspectives? I am aware that the whole subject of gender is quite bulky to unpack.
Yeah, yeah.
And everyone has a little different experience. So from your own experience, what keeps you hopeful?
That it's
Yes.
you know, I think women survive and make it against all odds, and it's always a great story, you know. And
Yeah.
you know, I'm Indian from, like, I'm an immigrant here from India. I'm 51 years old. You know, I started acting at my mid-30s. Like, there's no world, there wouldn't have been a world where I could have been an actor or a successful actor or making a living or supporting stuff. And you know, there's really 10 years ago no world where that would have existed, but the world has changed drastically, you know. And I am hopeful that it will change even more to accommodate and celebrate women, so that we're not just doing it against the odds, we're doing it because that's what we're meant to do.
Thank you. So actually, that is what I wanted to do. I wanted to kind of give a break to Poorna. Poorna, let's do a little game.
Okay.
I want to add a little twist to this conversation by asking you some quick fire questions. It's just a beginning statement, and then I will request you to finish the statement using the first thought that comes to your mind.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Just feel free to express it anyhow. The first statement is female leadership is important because
we're half the population. We should be reflected.
Interesting. Second one, girls today need
the spaces to speak up and be heard.
Okay, nice one. The third one, schools in the future need to have,
you know, schools right now need to have an eye towards climate justice.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I like how you're thinking about the questions and giving us very personalized responses. Another one comes, gender equity in schools looks like?
I would go back to what I initially said. It looks like equal opportunity, but it looks like an acknowledgement to create a more holistic space for a student. It looks like where education and safety and conversations and all the wonderful things that happen in this classroom are also exist in her and his life outside of the classroom.
Great. Thank you. And the last one.
Okay.
School leaders are?
School leaders, first of all, make wonderful role models and friends and are a lifeline.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Poorna.
Thank you.
I wish I had an opportunity to give you a grade, but I will not grade you. I like that you have been able to just interact there and give us your personal thoughts about all of those. Now, as we wind up, I would like to hear if you have any advice for school leaders, especially in terms of their role in creating the gender equitable schools.
I think I'm like really on a theme today, but don't think within the four walls of your school. And education will not be as powerful if the student is facing very gendered problems outside of the house. So even though inside the school you may be giving for the girl equal opportunities, those opportunities will be diluted in different ways depending on what's happening outside.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Principal Noel. Thank you for speaking. Pleasure to meet you. Congratulations on all the wonderful work you do.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I'm privileged. And thank you so much. It's also been such a pleasure speaking to you, Poorna, and also hearing your thoughts and your perspectives, your memories. Thank you for sharing also your experiences and also advising us on the way forward. As a school leader, I also feel challenged. Also just hearing your experiences in your own industry. And I have also picked up a few lessons from what you have just said. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate
you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. To our viewers, thank you for joining us in this conversation with Poorna Jagannathan, who is our actor and producer. We hope that you're going to learn a lot from these conversations, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of the Principal's Office. Bye-bye.